Heyo, I'm Qifwen and today's speed paint is about making your persona. For those that don't know what a persona is, it's basically the little guide that you use online to represent yourself, because most people don't show their face online, or they just prefer having a little character. This is what VTubers use and most artists use to represent themselves, usually as an inhuman character, but sometimes people just choose to draw themselves, even if it's a slightly more cartoonified version. I've been making characters since I was a little kid, so I think I have a lot of experience in making personas and characters, so I want to share my personal experience to help out people in their first time or looking for advice on creating personas. I have 4 steps I'm going to cover throughout the duration of this video, which hopefully will give you a good idea, but I'm going to list them off right now, and then you can skip to them at the checkpoints. Number 1 is knowing how you actually want to represent yourself. People don't know what you look like online, so this is how they will view you. So you don't want to make your persona something bad, like they'll look at you and view you in a not so great light. Number 2 is understanding colors and shape language. Do you want your persona to be big and scary and tough, or do you want them to be soft and round? And colors will help further portray these shapes that you push as a way that you want to outwardly present yourself. One of the simpler steps, I say that with bunny ear quotation marks, because this is where people always seem to struggle, is naming your persona and coming down if you want to use your actual name, use your online handle, or something completely different. And number 4, which is really important to consider when creating the sketch designs, is do you want to use them just for art or animation? Because that will change very critically how you design this character and what you're going to use when drawing them. For step number 1, go ahead and create yourself a good old mood board. Head onto Pinterest and pull together some characters, colors, and concepts you like. Here's a look at a mood board I created for my persona. Took one of my old personas from a few years ago, that silly alien cat meme that's going around, and the clothes are inspired from another character of mine who I was planning to use for VTubing before I ultimately scrapped him. Now take these bits and put them together. Write down what you like about these designs or these concepts, and then start trying to turn them into a character. With the alien cat meme, I liked, cats. And I did really like the concept of an alien, which is where those two sected together. After this, you'll probably have a few rough sketches. Try redrawing them and then looking at what design you like the most before you move on to step 2. Step 2 is all about color and shape language. You want to think exactly in what way these things are going to refine your previous sketches. So you could completely change your character design and the vibes they give off. You could have a cool little ghost lantern guy, but that could go to like a Casper the Ghost type of character, or a big scary evil ghost that is going to eat your family. Illustration by Stefano Camelli shows, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, there are completely different vibes that each shape can give off. You just want to think about what way you want to be portraying yourself and what type of shape you think your personality is. Do you want a soft and bubbly, around a circular character, or do you want a triangle? Someone who's headstrong and maybe a little bit more uptight. Think the difference between Steven's design and Pearl's design within Steven Universe. Names are one of the things that, as I stated previously, lots of artists struggle with, whether for their persona or characters. What I find is just go over a bunch of names, put down gibberish, look at fictional characters' names, and just find one you get attached to. It's really all you can do, and just find a name that sticks out to you. Even use one of those fantasy name generators if that's what you need to do. Now for the final step, working out what you just want to use this persona for. I personally use my persona with an animation and art, so I want him to be complex enough that he looks interesting, but simple enough that I'm not going to cry myself to sleep over deciding to make an animation with him. Try thinking about if you're someone that is interested in animation and that's something you'd like to pursue. If that's not something that comes to mind when creating art and characters, feel free to make your persona as insanely complex as you like. Or you can do that if you want to make animation, just don't blame me when you're crying yourself to sleep. Try creating a version of your persona that is simplified, bare bones, but still keep the core elements, and one that has all the crazy details you want. That'll give you a good idea of what we would look like if you want to focus on animation or art. I'll now show these steps sequentially so you as an artist can follow along with me. First up, I went straight onto Pinterest. I had a concept of what I wanted to make, so I searched those things directly up. I wanted to make a magical girl themed persona. Well, not a persona I'd use, but you know. So I went around looking for inspiration images, finding that photography one, and then found, I forget her name, but she's from the Procure Smile series. I only remember her Glitter Force name, which, embarrassing. And then I wanted to go with something ghosty to counteract the sweet concept of a magical girl. But not everyone's going to know exactly what they want to make in terms of a persona. So what I'd recommend doing is just going onto your basic Pinterest home feed and go and look around. Because really, if you don't know what you'd want to do, the best thing to look is just find inspiration images. Which is what I was doing here, just going through along my basic Pinterest, having a look at what came up and what could possibly be sources of inspiration if I hadn't already had a concept. Alright, time to get in and dissect my ideas for those who do not understand the thought process I followed. So I just took and noted everything I actually liked about it and what linked up together in each thing, where I took notes of the long flowy fabric, centralized colors, and the spectralness of these two ghosty images, particularly to do with the eyes and the unclearness of what's actually happening, which as you'll be able to see when I start sketching out the concept. Although I knew exactly what theme I wanted to follow, I didn't know what the character was going to look like. So I started by drawing some of my favorite things from each part of my ideas from Pinterest. You can see I immediately took in with the big fluffy skirt. I gave some ribbons, very magical girl-esque. What magical girl doesn't have ribbons? And then I just started to play around with colors because I had a rough magical girl base. And from there, you can see I created a ghosty magical girl. I hope this video was helpful for people. If you'd like me to go more in depth about character design, persona design, you wanted to see more speed paints in general, let me know. Thanks for watching.